Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 29th of December, now it's 20 past 11 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment, but before I start, let me say a few words about my channel on Rumble. Our community did reach 1970 on Rumble, and if you are watching this video on YouTube, please consider to support this project on Rumble also and subscribe on my Rumble channel. You can see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. Yesterday I did upload interview with Andrei Martyanov video of that interview on Rumble also. And well, from 2nd of January, I will resume on Rumble Telegram Reports program, which is exclusively done for Rumble, exactly to generate additional interest towards this channel. And when it comes to YouTube, first of all, about interview, few words. At this point, this interview has more than interview with the military expert, writer, and geopolitical analyst Andrei Martyanov has more than 10,000 views, which is a success, I will say, for such tiny channel as ours. And if you have not yet seen this interview or listened to it, please consider to do so on YouTube or on Rumble, on both channels. On my channels, on both platforms, this video is available, of course. And well, I was kind of skeptical that we will manage to reach 20,000 before end of this year, but at this point our community on YouTube is more than 19,900, more than 19,900. And well, if you can, please share link to my channel, my YouTube channel, with your friends, your family members, if they are interested in politics in general and in news and politics in general and in news from Russia. Maybe we will manage to reach 20,000 before end of this year. That will be, of course, a great New Year's gift to me personally. And well, that's been said. Let's talk about news now. And first of all, short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. Major news, breaking news for this moment is that during the night time, Russian armed forces conducted massive waves of drone and missile strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of Kiev regime from southern eastern regions up to western ones. And I did share on my Telegram information about it and some videos that were circulating on internet. According to latest informations, military and logistical infrastructure of Kiev regime was targeted in Kiev and the Kiev region, also in Kharkov region, Sumy region, Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporozhye, Odessa, Poltava, Lvov, Cherkasy, and many others. So this was maybe even unprecedented scale of drone and missile strikes, huge one that we did not see for many months at least. And when I was reading these reports about strikes, I did think that maybe this is a final preparation of Russian side to conduct decisive offensive operations during the winter, maybe, because after all, for a really while we did not see large-scale missile and drone strikes on logistical and military infrastructure of Kiev regime. On my Telegram channel you can see some videos. I did share these videos from DD Geopolitics channel about strikes, explosions, and so on. And also I did see several videos of malfunctioning of air defense systems of Ukrainian armed forces. I will share those videos also after I will record this update, because I guess Russian side did try to overwhelm Ukraine's air defense systems, and they did manage to do so. several missiles of air defense systems even failed and hit back on the ground. You can clearly see on those videos, missile is launched and does some circle in the air and hitting ground. This is usual stuff when it comes to Ukrainian air defense systems, most likely because those missiles are old and not really maintained as they're supposed to. But in any case, I guess first wave of Russian drone strikes and missile strikes were to overwhelm air defense systems of Kyiv regime, and next strikes were directed exactly on targets, logistical and military infrastructure. And during the day, we will definitely receive some additional information, and of course, I will share about it. News on my Telegram channel, and maybe I will make a separate short video on topic of these strikes later on this day. Let's see how will things develop. But this was a huge missile and drone strike. This is for sure. When it comes to line of contact, according to reports from Russian media and Russian military channels, there was no crucial changes on any of the sectors of the front line, although Russian forces are increasing pressure on daily basis, and in certain areas in Zaporozhye sector, for example, in Orekhov bridgehead area, in Sovdanetsk sector on Vremovsky salient, and village Novomikhailivka village area here. In Donetsk direction, of course, Avdiivka and Bakhmut area. In Seversk direction, settlements of Vysyola and Razdolovka also. On the northern side, this Terny village and Ampolovka. In all these areas, and if you take a look at Kupiansk, we can mention Sinkovka settlement, not far away from city. In all these areas, Ukrainian forces are in extremely difficult situation, and according to some military channels, at some areas, Ukrainian forces are beginning to withdraw from their positions, and maybe in upcoming days, maybe in next week also, we will see some quite significant changes on line of contact as a result of this significant increase of pressure from Russian side. But right now there is no crucial changes on any of the sector of the front line that can be called breakthrough or large-scale operation. Russian side is in charge, initiative is in Russian hands, and well, at this point, I guess all Russian actions must be taken as a final preparations for decisive winter offensive that will take place, in my understanding, towards end of January, first half of February. But yet again, of course, general staff is not sharing with me information, and I cannot know for sure. We can have only informed guess, I will say, based on information that we are receiving from open sources. And this is it for a short summary. As I said, main topic at this point is this huge, massive missile and drone strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of Kyiv regime. And during the day, of course, I will share additional news about it on my Telegram, and maybe in separate short video. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that head of Russian General Staff Gerasimov was in a zone of special military operation and give the awards to militaries that were participating in operations to liberate Marinka, and number of Russian soldiers and officers receive awards from Gerasimov. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that, according to Western media, in this particular case, Politico, US media outlet, Washington, leadership of United States and European Union, or members of EU, are changing their tactics. They have negotiations behind the scenes, and now, if previously their main task, if you may say, was to achieve total victory over Russia by using their Ukrainian proxies. They began to realize that this task is unachievable. They cannot defeat Russia, and they are changing now their approach. They want to reinforce Kyiv regime so much so that at least they will manage to conduct negotiations with Russia, not necessarily on Russian terms, let's say this way. They still thinking that they can dictate terms to Russia. But of course they are mistaken. Of course they are mistaken. If any negotiations will take place on whatever level between Moscow and the major Western capitals, those negotiations will be on Russian terms. Moscow will just put down on the table ultimatum, and the Western capitals will have a choice: take it or leave it. That's how it's gonna be. Russian armed forces and Russia already defeated ruling class of the West and their proxy and their Ukrainian proxies, and it's now question now only is in formalization of this victory. That's all. So if Western ruling class, if some people in the Western ruling class still thinking that they can dictate some terms to Russia, I mean, you tell me how delusional those people really are, man. Also interesting news, probably you did hear about this yesterday, that citizens of Ukraine in European states are lining up in queues now to receive some new documents. In Poland, for example, there was a queues. They were queuing for passports. As you know, in Rada, Ukraine's parliament, draft law have been introduced on sanctions against citizens of Ukraine who will not arrive in recruitment offices to be mobilized and sent to the front line. And one of the sanctions in that draft law is to refuse to issue documents, Ukrainian documents, to citizens of Ukraine that are living not just inside but outside also, in EU member states, for example. And now it's quite understandable that Ukrainian refugees that want to stay in Europe and want to have valid documents are rushing into consulates and embassies of Ukraine to receive some new IDs, new documents, before this draft law have been voted in the parliament in Ukraine and become a law. I did spoke about this several times in previous updates. There are too many points in this law how to pressure citizens of Ukraine to go to recruitment offices, including refugees in Europe. And one of their topics are to freeze their bank accounts, for example, to not allow them to sell their properties in Ukraine. And therefore, according to some reports that I see now, citizens of Ukraine, military age males, mainly in Ukraine, are basically queuing up in notarius offices also to affirm all their property to their wives, to their relatives, to their friends, to whomever, so that they will have the opportunity to sell those assets or use those assets in the future. Because of course, vast majority of Ukrainian refugees or citizens of Ukraine don't really want to be mobilized, don't really want to go to the front line and die for Zelensky and his associates or Western geopolitical agenda. Although they too realizing that Kyiv regime will make their life very difficult whenever they are in Ukraine or in Western states. And I guess it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time where we will see waves of Ukrainian refugees from Europe to some other countries, maybe even to Russia. It's just a matter of time. Estonia already made a statement that they will deport military age Ukrainian refugees if Kyiv will ask about it. And I guess it's only a matter of time, and other countries will follow suit also. They may not call it deportation, but they will find a way to pressure military age Ukrainian refugees enough so that they will at least leave their countries. And where they're gonna go from EU, I don't know, but well, it's gonna be hard times for Ukrainian refugees in Western world, that's for sure. After all, I remind you, dear friends, that Zelensky did make the statement about necessity to mobilize additional 450 to 500,000 people, and they cannot mobilize these people inside Ukraine. They just don't have a possibility to mobilize 500,000 people inside Ukraine. And that's why now there's so much talk about Ukrainian refugees in Europe. Anyway, let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that number of since the beginning of escalation between Israel and Palestine, more than 21,000 Palestinian civilians have been killed in the Gaza Strip, according to Health Ministry of Palestine. TASS news agency also reporting that according to UN data, in the West Bank, more than 300 civilians have been killed as a result of actions of Israeli armed forces and the police. And I remind you, dear friends, that the West Bank, formally at least, not in a zone of active military operation of IDF. This is West Bank here, and this is Gaza Strip here. So formally, military operations are taking place in the Gaza Strip on the northern part at this point of Gaza, but I did report several times about military actions of IDF in West Bank also, and as a result of these clashes, more than 300 civilians have been killed and thousands of civilians have been arrested also. Let's continue. And unfortunately, this type of informations are daily routine now when Israeli forces are conducting strikes on southern Lebanon against Hezbollah, and of course Hezbollah is fighting back, and both sides are exchanging fire on daily basis. And the Prime Minister of Lebanon did make a statement and said that actions of Israel may provoke regional war. Which is definitely a possibility. Many experts are predicting that Israel may provoke regional war if they will continue escalate with Lebanon, for example, if they will force civilians from Palestine out of that region entirely. So risk is quite high. Unfortunately. And if regional war will erupt in Middle East, of course it will devastate not just the region but also entire world. And world economy. No questions about it. RT is reporting that Lavrov had a meeting with the foreign minister of India, Subramaniam Jaishankar, who is visiting Russia. He is in Russia for 4 days, and he will have meetings in Moscow and St. Petersburg. And they, of course, discuss during these meetings many topics, not just some political stuff, situation in Ukraine, in the Middle East, BRICS, for example, but also bilateral relationships and economical developments between the sides. India is a major strategic partner for Russia, of course, and the President of Russian Federation also had a meeting with India's foreign minister, and he invited Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, to visit Russia. I believe India's Prime Minister will accept this invitation, and he will visit Russia, because I said many times before, for both countries, for India and for Russia, strategic level of bilateral relations are supposed to be number one priority in foreign policy. Number one priority. It's hard to overestimate how important for both countries, in my understanding, strong ties and great relationships are from every point of view, from economical point of view, and also from security point of view, strategic security point of view. And well, let's continue. TASS News Agency is reporting that Trump was denied to be on a ballot in yet another state, this time in Maine. In Maine, that was a decision of local court. But yet again, this is not final. This is not final, because Supreme Court, I believe, of US will discuss on this topic, and eventually Trump probably will be on the ballots in all the states. Although in US we are observing such a processes that at this point hard to be sure about anything really. And maybe neolibs and Democrats and deep state will achieve removal of the Trump from presidential race. I mean, who knows? Who knows? This is I don't know, man. As I said many times, Biden's administration is worst what did happen to US for decades and decades, because world is watching, isn't it? And everybody is clearly seeing that Trump, this is political prosecution of the Trump. And it was US leadership always that criticizing other countries, that they are not as democratic as Washington would like to see. And now they are acting in a way that they used to criticize others. They are prosecuting main opposition candidate for presidency. I mean, how are you gonna comment this, man? It's Biden's administration is embarrassing USA, man, worldwide, and destroying US reputation. I mean, in the ways that wow. Anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that Russia's oil supplies to EU dropped 90%. According to Deputy Prime Minister Novak, which is, well, let's read several sentences. Russian oil sales to EU have shrunk to a tenth of the former level due to Western sanctions, Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak announced on Wednesday. As of the end of 2023, the share of crude deliveries to the bloc in Moscow's overall exports has slumped from 40-45% before the Ukrainian conflict to 4-5% now, the official said in an interview with the Russia 24 broadcaster. Quite interesting, because even though directly Russian oil supplies to Europe dropped 90%, still I believe 25-30% of Russian oil exports are through third parties directed to Europe. Although difference is that Europeans are paying significantly more. That's all it is, really. You know, Russian oil is still going to Europe, but through third parties, and Europe is paying more. And maybe that's why energy cost in Europe is soaring. And for example, in this case, we are talking about gas. In this report of RT, gas prices went up in average 8.4%, which is quite an increase, isn't it? And yet again, EU member states, many EU member states cut their imports of Russian pipeline gas and basically said nothing when U.S. Administration, with Biden's administration, conducted strike on Russian pipelines, gas pipelines, Nord Stream pipelines. And same time, very same EU member states are buying Russian LNG now, which is, of course, significantly more expensive than pipeline gas. And I reported like 2 or 3 weeks ago that major buyers of Russian LNG are China, of course, and then France, Spain, Belgium, and a number of other countries in Europe. So formally, they are no longer buying in huge volumes Russian pipeline gas, but they still are buying Russian gas, just in liquefied form. And that's a result. That's a result, by the way. Energy cost is rising, which is definitely bad news for ordinary households, of course, and also bad news for economies of EU member states that are experiencing significant difficulties, exactly because of the high cost of energy. RT is reporting that Russian energy revenues reach pre-Ukrainian conflict level. Well, that's also huge, isn't it? So proceeds from Russia's oil and gas exports contributed about 100 billion, 9 trillion rubles, and which is 100 billion US dollars, to the state budget this year, close to revenue levels recorded in 2021 before the Ukraine conflict began. Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak has revealed. So there we go. After 18,000 sanctions from the G7 and EU member states, including on energy sector, Russian revenues from energy are almost on the level that before special military operation. What about that? And who lost, really? Who lost as a result of this sanctions wars on Russia? Who lost? EU, by the way. Mainly EU. Because Russia is making almost the same as in before special military operation, but EU member states are paying now, I don't know, man, 20, 30, 40% more for energy. And this is gonna be last news for today's short, I hope it's short update. Oh yes, 28 minutes. Quite short update. So TASS news agency is reporting that Russian civilian plane MS-21 did receive approval from government to begin producing planes that will carry 211 passengers. So this plane went through all the state testing, I believe, and are approved for mass production, and according to reports that I see, before 2030, 270 this type of planes may be built in Russia. 270 MS-21s. Well, number may not be so impressive, but after all, this is a brand new plane. And new assembly lines have to be built to produce these planes. And if there will be demand worldwide, inside Russia and hopefully in China and India, then of course, production scale of these planes may become significantly bigger. After all, there is only a few countries in this world that are capable of producing domestically engineered and built planes. And this is it for now. Short update. After all, it's New Year's, time for New Year's celebrations, and of course, people, all of us are concentrated on these preparations for New Year's celebration, on our families, and I wanted to make shorter videos, not to take too much time from members of our community. Hopefully you will find this video interesting, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and share video with your friends. I remind you about my Rumble channel. Please consider to subscribe on my Rumble. You can see link on this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. And well, if you think this project, this channel is interesting, informative, useful, has some potentials, and deserves to exist, please consider to support my work and this project with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, on which, by the way, I do try to make extra content, extra updates on regular basis. Well, you can see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. If any crucial development during the day, I will try to make another short update later on. If not, then see you tomorrow. Bye for now, and take care.